The ice roads were dangerous enough on camera, but what happened off-screen is even more shocking. In 2025, some ice road truckers cast members are no longer with us, while others have ended up behind bars, and a few are still facing dangers most of us can't even imagine. These are the real stories of near death, of choices that led to tragedy, and of lives forever changed after the cameras turned off. From drivers who pushed limits on frozen lakes to ones whose personal struggles took them down unexpected paths, the truth is stranger than fiction. Stick around, because by the end, number 3's story will make you question every mile you ever saw on the show. Number 7, Daryl Ward. Daryl Ward was the kind of guy who made you want to jump into a cab and ride the ice roads with him, grinning through -50-degree wind and joking over the CB radio like nothing could stop him. Born on August 13, 1964, in Montana, he literally grew up around trucks. His family ran harvest rigs, and he spent decades learning the trade long before he ever hit the screen on Ice Road Truckers. By the time he joined in Season 6, Daryl had the mix of skill, charm, and adrenaline addiction that made viewers instantly fall in love with him. He wasn't just driving trucks, he was saving lives on icy roads, helping rookies, and somehow staying cooler than everyone else in chaos. Fans loved his grin, his backwards cap, and the way he could make near-death situations feel thrilling instead of terrifying. Off-camera, he helped fight forest fires, organized community drives, and lived by his motto, "Any road, any load." But the life of thrill-seeking and service came to a sudden halt on August 28, 2016, when he and his co-pilot, Mark Millott, died in a plane crash returning from the Great American Truck Show. Eyewitnesses described the plane veering sharply before hitting the trees, and investigators could never pinpoint exactly why. The tragedy shook fans and fellow truckers alike, but what makes it even harder to forget is that Daryl was about to start a documentary project exploring plane wrecks, a dream cut short just as it was about to take off. And while some drivers on the ice faced dangers they could see coming, the next person on our list had trouble finding the line between thrill and disaster in ways no one could have predicted. Number 6, Art Burke. Art Burke arrived on Ice Road Truckers in Season 7 like he belonged on the ice by birth, a scrappy Canadian who looked like he could wrestle a blizzard and win, and over 38 episodes between 2013 and 2017, he showed he wasn't kidding. Burke's personality was magnetic. He could make you laugh while making even the scariest ice crossings feel thrilling, but off-camera, that same curiosity got him into serious trouble. Burke wasn't afraid of experimentation. One of the most infamous incidents happened after the show went off the air, when he tried making a cannabis concentrate called Shatter using highly flammable liquid butane. Despite knowing the risks, he pushed forward, and a spark turned his home into a fireball. Neighbors felt the explosion blocks away, damages topped $60,000, and Burke suffered second-degree burns over 40% of his body, landing in the hospital for nearly 2 weeks. That wasn't the end of it. In 2020, he pled guilty to arson by negligence, faced house arrest, restitution, and had to sell his rig to cover fines. Even in court, his rebellious streak showed. He came late to a sentencing hearing and challenged the schedule, pushing the judge's patience to the limit. Today, he posts haul videos under a new name, but the easygoing smirk fans loved is gone, replaced by a serious, haunted edge that tells you he still hears the explosion every time he blinks. Number 5, Hugh Rowland. Hugh Rowland, known as the Polar Bear, was one of the early stars of Ice Road Truckers, the guy whose gravelly voice and no-nonsense attitude became central to the first seasons, second only to Alex Debogorski in screen time. He had this mix of humor, toughness, and skill that made him instantly memorable, and producers built entire episodes around his lectures to rookies or his clever ways of handling treacherous ice. Fans loved his gruff charm, and Rowland himself was quick to joke about the cameras. He told producers when approached, "Yeah, you can put cameras in my trucks, but just stay out of my way. It doesn't cost me any money. Nobody's going to watch us go up and down the ice anyway." Unfortunately, Hugh's story took a serious turn in 2014. While off-duty, riding as a passenger in an SUV driven by producer Will Morrison, the vehicle veered off a narrow dirt road and rolled over, leaving him with severe spinal injuries and a shattered left heel. Recovery took 2 years, but the physical damage was only part of the story. Rowland filed a lawsuit against the producer, claiming reckless driving, and the legal battle, combined with his injuries, ended his television career. The accident also contributed to personal challenges, including the breakdown of his marriage, with claims that the injuries impacted their intimacy and led to significant strain. The lawsuit was never fully publicized, and the network quietly wrote him out. Hugh hasn't returned to ice roads since, though he still appears at truck shows, signing autographs and leaning on a cane, with fans whispering about what really ended his career. Despite everything, he runs a construction company now and spends time with his family, proving that while the ice roads may be behind him, his resilience keeps him moving forward in other ways. Next up, the man quietly running one of the biggest ice trucking companies might be even more interesting than the drivers themselves. Number 4, Mark Kohakwich. Mark Kohakwich is the steady hand behind Polar Industries, the Winnipeg-based trucking company that's taken on some of Canada's harshest northern terrain, including the infamous ice roads that challenge even the most seasoned drivers. On screen, he often played the straight man, quietly overseeing operations while others faced blizzards, breakdowns, and near-miss crashes. But behind that calm exterior is a man whose story is all about strategy, endurance, and a deep respect for the North. He first appeared on Ice Road Truckers in Season 5, gradually taking on a more prominent role from Season 7. By the 10th season, he even briefly drove Darrell Ward's truck and operated a heavy loader, proving that he wasn't just a guy behind a desk, he understood the work because he had done it himself. Mark's fascination with the North began long before Polar Industries existed. As a university student, he and a friend would take ice fishing day trips that gradually pushed farther and farther into remote areas, staying out longer each year. They noticed freight trucks constantly passing through the frozen wilderness and wondered if there was a business port in hauling supplies to these inaccessible places. That curiosity became the foundation for Polar Industries. What started with just 21 loads in the first year eventually grew to over 700 by the 6th year, supplying remote communities and First Nation settlements that rely on ice roads to survive the winter. One of the most remarkable examples of Mark's leadership came in 2017, when the railroad line to Churchill, Manitoba, was washed out. Without it, essential goods couldn't reach the town. Mark coordinated the construction of an ice road to deliver fuel, perishable food, and other supplies before Christmas, calling it a Christmas present to Churchill. His crews worked grueling 14 to 18-hour days, battling harsh weather and logistical challenges, while Mark orchestrated everything from planning to execution. "It's not like you can pick up a cell phone and call for help," he explained. "There are no helicopters, no aircraft, you take calculated risks every day." That statement alone underlines the responsibility he carries, not just for his business but for the people who depend on him. Since the show ended, Mark has stayed out of dramatic headlines. No fires, no lawsuits, no scandals, just the ongoing chess game of keeping freight moving across thawing permafrost and unpredictable northern conditions. His story isn't flashy, but it's compelling because it shows the quiet, often unseen side of the ice road world. While viewers are drawn to crashes and snowstorms, Mark represents the other side: strategy, foresight, and the mental toughness it takes to manage life in extreme isolation. And even with all his planning, the ice has a way of humbling everyone, which makes you wonder, what will the next season of Ice Roads throw at someone like him, whose life is all about calculated risk? Number 3, Todd Dewey. Todd Dewey became part of the Ice Road Truckers cast in Season 7, quickly earning a reputation for being one of the fastest and most skilled drivers at chaining up trucks in the Yukon. Fans loved him because he wasn't flashy, he was the kind of driver who let skill speak louder than words, tackling frozen roads that would intimidate even veteran truckers. On screen, he exuded confidence, navigating massive loads in extreme conditions, often alongside seasoned veterans like Art Burke. He had a no-nonsense approach, rarely needing to raise his voice or prove himself. His actions on the road said it all. But the life of an ice road trucker doesn't stop when the cameras turn off, and Todd learned that the road's danger doesn't care if you're famous or careful. Even the most experienced drivers can find themselves in situations that defy control, where split-second decisions determine life or death. In January of 2019, Todd experienced something no driver ever wants to face. While hauling spruce logs near Shelton, Washington, a sedan suddenly crossed the center line, leading to a catastrophic head-on crash. Both people in the car, a 65-year-old man and a 64-year-old woman, died instantly. Todd walked away physically unscathed, with only bruises and shock, but the emotional toll was immense. He later admitted that even though he was cleared by the RCMP, who blamed black ice and the other driver's excessive speed, he couldn't shake the haunting images of the accident. Surviving something like that leaves scars that no clearance of guilt can erase, and Todd had to navigate a form of grief most people never experience firsthand. He posted a heartfelt message on Facebook shortly after the accident, sharing his anguish and urging others to drive safely, reflecting the emotional depth that comes from witnessing tragedy firsthand. Friends say he quit long-haul trucking immediately afterward, switching to local gravel runs and avoiding night driving whenever possible. Even after such a traumatic event, the ice road's call never fully went away. Todd admitted privately that he missed the challenge, the solitude of the long stretches of frozen highway, and the satisfaction of a well-driven haul. Here's where it gets interesting. As of 2025, Todd is returning for season 12 after an 8-year break, reuniting with Lisa Kelly and joining Muskie Creek once again. He admits the love for the challenge is too strong to resist, even if his wife still worries every time he's on the ice. But the questions linger: what goes through someone's mind when they return to a life that once brought them face to face with death? And with the ice changing every year due to climate shifts, will Todd's old tricks and instincts still be enough, or is he stepping into even greater danger this time? Stick around, because the next driver's story makes Todd's risk look almost ordinary. Number 2, Lisa Kelly. Lisa Kelly is probably the first name most people think of when they hear ice road truckers, and for good reason. She's the woman who proved she could haul massive loads across Alaska's deadliest roads, often outpacing drivers twice her size. She even took season 6 off because, as she said, you can't heal bruised ribs when a camera crew is in your face every sunrise. But her story isn't just about physical pain, it's about breaking barriers, proving herself in a male-dominated industry, and showing that skill and determination can outshine any stereotype. Born December 8, 1980, Lisa started driving on ice road truckers from season 3 through 5, returned for 7 through 11, and tackled some of the harshest ice Alaska can throw at a trucker. From the frozen stretches of the Dalton Highway to treacherous inclines and massive loads, she faced it all. Early in her career, she wasn't even paid for her first few seasons, yet she kept showing up, letting her work speak for itself. She once told producers, "I'm going to prove I'm more than eye candy," and she absolutely did. Over time, her reputation grew. She became known not just for fearlessness, but for precision, professionalism, and a calm focus in situations that would overwhelm most drivers. Colleagues respected her, fans admired her, and her presence on the show helped redefine what it meant to be a woman in the industry. Her partnership with Daryl Ward added another dimension to her story. They co-owned a trucking business together, and his sudden death left Lisa juggling grief, business responsibilities, and the emotional weight of carrying on their shared dream. She could have